Hello everyone, today we're going to be working on a Seth Thomas 401-003. This movement's basically the equivalent of a Hermele 350-020. We're going to work on disassembling this. We'll run it through the cleaner. After we get it out of the cleaner, we're going to assess it for any wear or broken parts. So let's just go ahead and start by taking this apart. First thing we want to do is remove the floating balance on this. We don't want any of the spring to get damaged. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way real quick. Get my hand out of the way of the camera there. Now, this particular type of balance has not been used for quite a while. I see a lot of people complain about these, saying they're not a good type of balance. That's usually because over the years they've been mistreated. You do not want to oil these whatsoever. I'll probably do a separate video at some point discussing floating balances altogether. But for now, just keep in mind, like I said, you don't want to oil these at all, because you can't get down. There's two jewels. There's one on both ends of the assembly here, and if you get oil down in that, there's not really a good way to get in and clean it out. You'll end up filling this tube up here. It's hollow behind the jewel. You'll end up filling it with a bunch of crud, and it won't spin freely like it's supposed to. This one's definitely not got the life that we want. But like I said, I'll address the rest of those issues at another point in time. All right, we're going to remove the wheels for the quarter-hour strike. So we're going to loosen that a little bit. Give it a little pull. Then we've got some E-clips. I like to kind of keep a finger on them. We'll just remove them where they don't get too far off on us. And these wheels will just slide off the post. Let's take off the lift arm for our hour chime. And this just hooks in at the bottom. We slide that out. All right, we're going to flip over to the dial side of the movement. This is where we've got all the good stuff going on. We've got all our wheels over here for the quarter hour. We've got our lock wheel. We've got our count rack. Go ahead, remove our plate at the bottom here. That'll just pull off. Let's get our chime roll out of there. Go ahead and we'll remove it from this side too. There we are. The screws from this side are a little bit longer, so we want to make sure we keep those straight. And there are also a couple little brass washers there to give the plate the proper spacing. So we want to make sure we keep all of that straight. Okay. We're going to remove the guards from over the different barrels. I have already let down the power previously. You'll want to take your arbor winder, give it a slight wind, pull back on the click, let the click wheel run down so that we don't have any power on the barrels. This one is definitely a bit grimy. It's stuck in there pretty good. That is definitely a sign that our grease is very hardened. Okay, so give it a little push there. We're able to pull our barrel out now. Go ahead and loosen the next one. That was the barrel for our 1/4 hour. It is a little bit larger than the other 2 barrels. Needs a little bit more power to run the 1/4 hour chimes. This one's good and tight as well. That pulled a little bit easier though. Actually, at some point you can see someone has replaced these barrels. They've actually got Hermele barrels in them. That was something I was going to address later, is that if you do have an issue with these barrels or the springs, they are equivalent to the barrels that are in a Hermele 350-020. Okay, pull our last one out. This one's also got a number 40 barrel and spring in it. Okay. Next, we're going to go through, we're going to pull some more of our clips, get a few pieces off the front here. Tell you what, I'm going to come in from the side. I'm going to loosen this set screw over here. It's going to allow us to release the arms here on the 1/4 hour. Turn that a little bit so our arm is free to lift out. Spin everything up a little bit here. Okay. I'll lower this down for just a second. Here. There we are. Yeah, we'll just make this easier on ourselves. We'll go ahead and remove. Let's see, I'm going to get in with a small screwdriver on this clip. I'm going to keep a finger there so that it doesn't want to take off on us. We don't want to have to go chasing clips around the room or having to replace them unnecessarily. Okay, now we're free. That should give us a little bit more room on some of these other pieces. So we're going to take our count rack off. If you should happen to lose one of the clips, they are pretty readily available from most of the suppliers, like Merritt's or Time Savers. We're going to take our minute hand. I'm going to run the clock around just a little bit. Move our count wheel so I can get in here and get our last clip off. And that'll free up a few pieces. There we are. Let's get the clip off of our lift arm. Okay. That wheel off. Put a finger on the governor there so we can that twisted off as well. We should be able to pull our lift arm off. Put a finger, see if I can pull this by hand. If I don't have to use a tool for that, that's great. There it comes. If you need to, you can usually get on it with a pair of those. Take care of it. A little washer here. Okay. That's got most of our exterior parts off. So now we're going to pull this off from the front. Tell you what, let's go ahead and pull our click springs off too. Make sure everything gets good and cleaned out while we're apart in the tank. And this is a lacquered movement, so I probably will not run it for a super long time in the tank, mainly because I don't want the lacquer to break down on it. I'm not going to force this one if it doesn't want to come out. It's not the end of the world if the click spring stays on. I'd rather not risk breaking it. The ultrasonic will still clean under it, no problem. Actually, in most of the newer versions, they're not meant to be removed. These older ones, they'll usually come out pretty easily. Okay, grab our nut driver, we'll loosen this. Try not to use pliers or anything if I don't have to. We'll avoid any unnecessary tool marks, especially on the softer pieces like the brass. There's only 2 washers there. Make sure we get both of them pulled off. Okay, I'm gonna flip this back over. I'm gonna slowly, there's another washer hiding on this. Slowly gonna lift up on this. And it's gonna leave all of our gears in place. So I'm gonna pull these out. I kinda like to set them out in gear train, by gear train, so we don't have anything get mixed up. About the only pieces that would really be easily confused on this. I've seen every now and then where you get the governor, the fan looking pieces, maybe mixed up a little bit. And their adjoining gear, they're pretty similar. Tooth count, pivot size and everything. Pull our pallet fork out, our escape wheel. And we can look and see that this one is pretty grimy. Much of the old oil has just solidified and hardened inside. So we want to put this in the ultrasonic machine and let it get cleaned up. And I'm going to remove our spring from the pallet fork. We want everything to be able to get good and clean underneath that too. Don't want any oil and grease trapped inside there, bogging it down. So that's our front plate. We're going to leave the center post in right now for the initial cleaning. If we get it out and we see any reason to take that apart, we'll address it then. Okay, next we're going to get all of our parts put in the cleaning basket and moved to the cleaning machine. Any smaller parts that I'm concerned about losing down in the machine, I do have a couple small parts trays like this that I'll load down pieces into. But we don't have to go fishing down into the ultrasonic tank. Okay, I'm here at the ultrasonic machine. I have locked down in the solution. About 10 minutes. I'm not going to worry about turning on the heat for this. I said I want to avoid breaking down the lacquer. It may happen anyway just due to the age, but if we don't have to worry about that coming off, that's even better for us. I'm not going to turn the machine on. It makes a terrible sound through the camera, but we'll come back in a little bit. We'll rinse the parts out with a little water and then run them in the dryer.